Hello, and welcome to the weekly package quad planning. This week, we are going to discuss risk map process and hiring updates. And it looks like, Sophia, you have the first item.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. I am having a bit of problems with my computer because it's very, very slow. So apologies for the lag. Um, and yeah, I just basically added some risk assessment questions. This is basically regards to the milestone that we have already started, the milestone 14.1. If we are introducing relevance risks, and if we are, what are we doing about it? Um, I just added the next points. These are just guiding questions, right? The next point I added is just about looking at 14.1, looking at the P1s listed. What are the risk impacting activities and how did they actually change our risk map? So just quickly going through it. Basically, yes, we have the percentage-based rollout for cleanup policy tax. There are notes in the issue how we are monitoring it. Right now we are at 1%. I'm confident that the way this has been rolling out, that we are probably going to lower our storage cost risk from the 20. And I see that Haley here is adding a comment. Haley, would you like to apologize?
Sure. So the impact of the tag deletions are actually not going to come into full effect, start coming into effect until phase 2, and they're not going to be fully realized in the completion of phase 3 of the migration of the container registry, just because we can't actually remove the storage, which they're referencing indirectly, until that's completed.
So for completion of phase 3, when would this be? When would we expect this?
That's open-ended. That we can be in a state where everything's migrated, but we're still hanging on to the old data for data repair reasons. That hasn't been decided yet.
Okay, so then maybe it makes sense to update the risk once we actually really see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even in phase 2, we're going to see an impact just because we'll need to copy fewer blobs over. So that is gonna matter quite significantly.
Yeah. Okay, just moving on to the next ones. Deploy token support for dependency proxy. Basically, this introduces an auth risk, but it's just a matter of introducing tests for testing it at the group and the subgroup level that we can actually use this token. I actually had the chance to talk with Steve that we might find a chance to pair and work on testing for this feature and include testing the deploy token as an end-to-end test as well. Steve, you have a comment here?
Yeah, just with regards to like risk mitigation, I'm also considering using feature flags to release this depending on how the implementation takes shape, since it does touch a pretty large portion of the authentication code.
Cool. We also have measuring adoption of the GitLab dependency proxy. And I think that regarding the risk that we have mapped for not having thinking of how to mitigate the knowledge about how the product is being used, I think there's several work being done about this. And Tim, I see you writing, so.
I was just going to say, definitely that will help. And I also wanted to call out that I think Steve or David shared the Kibana dashboard for the dependency proxy as well. So we could see some data, how many container images are being pulled and how many groups. So that also helps. Just calling that out.
Yeah, that was actually super useful. And we also have been doing GraphQL work for the package registry for list and details. I am, in order to improve response times, this is something that we have also mapped out as a risk. I just had a question. I know that this is an ongoing effort, but are we able to measure or test this while in this milestone? So we could have some results.
Where are we at in the implementation? Are we even using it at some level?
Okay, maybe it was my mistake. I just saw it in the P1, but
We have issues planned to to finish the GraphQL and then to use GraphQL instead of Vue. I think we have planned for 14.1.
I don't know if we have a general way to measure adoption of usage of the GraphQL API, but from what the user will consume, I don't know. Once we swap it to the front end, we will know, because every page it is going to be through the GraphQL API.
So we
already measure.
We could look at
from a certain date. So we can look at page view from the date that is merged and forward, and it's going to be, but that's going to be our internal usage. I don't know how it works for the global API. I haven't seen any specific code in the actual endpoint that you write, but we import a global helper. I don't know if it already is doing this kind of stuff for us.
yeah, okay. So so what I'm trying to understand here is that in terms of UI, the UI itself, it's going to be improved, right, after a certain date, or am I understanding this?
Yeah, I improved, change to the new API, yes. So we dropped the usage of the REST API and the custom controllers, and we moved to the GraphQL.
Okay. Tim?
Sorry
Would
for
you
interrupting
like
before Nico. I was just gonna say we can look at the page view metrics and the snippet command copying and setup command copying and see if there's any significant drop off. At least we could see if that's working. So we could use that as a general health metric.
And then there's also LCP. Once we're on the front end, largest contentful paint is something that we're already using across GitLab and has been the subject of various OKRs. So that's another way we could do it if we really have to wait for the front end to be able to measure this, because there aren't measurement tools. That's another option.
We are on the verge of adding the first package registry performance tests, which will be impacting the UI as well. In this case, we will be able to measure LCP and have that as a part of the whole performance of the UI of GitLab. And until then, this is also one of the ways we could do to test UI improvements. But this is going to take a milestone and a bit more to have it in place. Yeah.
For the LCP, sorry, Sophia. So there is a Grafana dashboard, and we need to double check if we have the pages inserted in that. If so, it's get taken, I think, once a day, a snapshot of the LCP of the page. It's a separate project that does that. It's created by the front-end department. I need to double check if we have definitely we have the container registry. I'm not sure if we have the package registry in there, and we should really add it, because with the container registry we saw a 300 millisecond improvement just by swapping to the new API, it's a good one.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I'm not sure how the data we are pulling for those measurements, are they against GitLab.com? Like, I'm just saying this because the GitLab
Yes.
performance testing tool is just setting up the reference architecture. So you have like 5K, 10K users, and then we want to have like, I don't know, listing 50 packages, 100 packages, and then have that measure in our package registry UI. So it's against those references, not against our GitLab COM environment. It was just to clarify that. Yeah.
Yes, this is against.com, and you can specify which public project you wanted to access. So yeah, we could pick a good one that fits our measure in the meantime. I mean,
Okay, and then, yeah, there is a documentation work. There was quite a lot of great job done in the last milestone for the package registry. Well done, I think. Kudos, Steve. And we're gonna have introduced new Debian repo docs as well. So basically, this is also taking care of our making sure that we have documentation in place. I just wanted to highlight that we are actually really adding lots of valuable documentation. And last but not least, basically, there is a section in our milestone planning where we have community contributions. And this is something that we raised in some milestones ago about being concerned on having enough time to address these. So it was just to understand if these contributions that are planned are at risk or not. I'm not sure if it's something we want to talk about.
I think generally, since we've kind of adopted some new habits, things have calmed down a little bit. And there's no real concerns that I have, at least.
Okay, that's good. The second point, which is also mine, is basically as a follow-up from the last risk mapping meeting a month ago. Well, it was just the JCS bucket for CI integrations tests. This was something that was going to be raised in an infra call. I'm not sure what's the status in there. If anyone knows, just update. Ailey, I think you have a comment here.
Yeah, we haven't had a lot of activity. The last update was 2 months ago. It seems like we're trying to figure out who the DRI to set this up should be. I think
But
this
is
is
it
important, not necessarily urgent. If we make changes to the GCS driver itself, we're pretty diligent about testing. So yeah, that's the situation.
But is it that the DRI should be from the infrastructure side, or is it from our team?
I think that's the question.
Okay.
Yeah, I think who is the DRI for setting it up is
Right.
the question.
I could try to also from our quality I think from our quality meeting to raise this as well and see what's the if it gets to be something maintained by quality, if it gets to be something that is going to be set up by infra. I'm not sure. Maybe someone knows a bit about this, just to post on the quality channel.
Yeah, I think having it managed by quality would be pretty interesting. I think that would be good because it's not really infrastructure in a traditional sense.
Yeah, because we already had some infrastructure, for example, for handling Kubernetes clusters for our tests. So maybe there could be, we are having actually a new software engineering test, which has quite a lot of JCP products knowledge. So maybe you could help out with the JCS driver, with the JCS bucket integration with the test framework, for example. I'm not sure. This is just to ask around.
Right, sounds good.
Probably also raise this in the container registry sync meeting, see what's going on there. If this is part of it, I would expect Infra would have to set up the bucket, unless quality already has the ability to, has the access for permissions on GCS to be able to set that stuff up. Based on looking at that issue.
The container registry deployment sync,
Yeah,
I'm wondering if that's, I don't know if that's, is that related enough? Because this is orthogonal to that, I believe. It's nice
Yeah,
to have it in general. It supports everything, but it's not blocking this deployment.
yeah, that's a fair comment. I think then asking, I do think it's probably Infra that needs to create the bucket though. If we're still creating the bucket, that'd be my guess. But yeah, we could probably ask. I can go ask as well.
Okay, so that's the last agenda item. Did anyone have anything else to talk about or raise here? Dan, looked like you were maybe going to say something. No? Okay. Thanks, everyone. That was great. Talk to you.